attractive. It works for everybody.
You are watching Community Roundup. Joining us now is Anjali Grover from IREO. Anjali, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Radhika, for having me on the show.
Now, in recent days, we've seen that the value of the rupee has drastically dropped recently. It's kind of a surprise for lots of people, especially the government of India there, and of course NRIs here. Now, how do you see this affecting the NRI community here in the U.S.?
See, Radhika, it can go both ways. Obviously, when the rupee is dropping, we've always considered 45, 46 as like a fair rate for a rupee, and considering that as a fair rate, if you see almost the rupee touching 60, that's about a 30% drop. So obviously this is a chance that when one can transfer money and invest in India, whether it being, picking up CDs which come at a rate of 8 to 9.5%, depending on the bank you choose, or if you're buying property, you're looking at it almost 30% cheaper from the old prices. But the sudden drop also can sort of make India look unpredictable, and slow to sort of reform. It creates a panic sort of a situation in NRIs as well. Yes, there is a very, very positive outlook because you're buying 30% cheaper, but then where the rupee will settle at becomes a question, because once you have to sell the properties, what rate you will be bringing back your dollar at also determines the kind of returns you made. So currently, yes, we are seeing a lot of calls coming in. The call rates have increased. We are seeing a lot of transfers happen. We are also seeing our existing clients actually trying to prepay on our properties. Generally, when you're buying a property, it's construction linked, so we've got about 4 years to pay for the property. There are so many people who are prepaying their installments just to make use of this opportunity that they've got. But on the other hand, we've got other people who are looking at this as like an unpredictable situation. Also, again, portraying the same light on India, that it's a third world emerging market. It's not organized. Real estate is not organized. The currency is not sort of a global currency. So we've got a mixed sort of a situation. Unless and until we see some steadiness come in at a certain rate, till then we'll not be able to predict whether this is just a crazy rush, or people are looking at it as a very, very positive opportunity in terms of long term.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you my next question. How do you see it playing out in the future? Do you think it's going to be something that's going to be lasting for an investment value for the NRIs here? Where do you see it going?
See, the thing is, if you saw what happened last June, if you see the currency between June 15th to June 26th last year, similar sort of rally happened last year. So that took the rupee from about 45, 46 to a level of 57. But finally it settled at 48, 49. This was like a 4-week, 5-week period where all of a sudden the currency dropped, and there was a 25% radical drop, and then it settled at about 48, 49. So finally 10% lower than the level it started at. This is the same thing I would think the currency would settle at. It started at like a 50, 51 level, and it's taken up to 60. But finally, what all is being affected by the currency, whether it's the exports, it's the imports, effectively the rates will need to be reduced to sort of monitor the currency. I feel it will settle at 10%-ish. So let's say the range would be 54, 55 from how I see it.
That's very interesting. Now, you're coming from a real estate perspective. Now, have you seen any new investments or any people showing a desire for a new investment in property in India after this dip?
Yes, we've seen new investors coming in, especially in the last 2 weeks. All of a sudden, the interest has increased. These are guys always who are monitoring every sector and are on the sidelines. And they come in when the opportunity comes, and they flee once the opportunity is gone. So this kind of a 10-15% increase in properties in terms of sales or curiosity is always there. So yes, we've seen a lot of new inquiries come in, and probably will be finalized in the coming week. As we see now, the currency is also changing. It moved by 35 bits today.
Right. Thank you, Anjali. It was great speaking with you today. And now moving on to our next story. The Bhagavad Gita, an epic that generation after generation